But let's talk before we get Gabe Henderson on later in the show. Let's talk a little Vikings, Sam, because this is a sports town that I saw tons of tweets about Paige Beckers in UConn and how if she wins a championship, does that count for Minnesota? Minnesotans, I feel like, are always trying to put themselves in the championship conversation. You look at Tyus Jones. Not Trey. Trey Jones is a little brother, but Tyus Jones. He wins a championship at Duke. Minnesotans try to claim that. Gary Trent Jr. when he was at Duke as well. You look at Kevin Garnett with the Celtics even. I remember people trying to, still claim KG and he won with the Celtics. No, it's not a Timberwolves. You don't get a piece of that ring. You don't get one diamond off of it like your Thanos. It's the thought process of Minnesota sports fans to figure out how can we find a way to put ourselves in the conversation. And Paige Beckers was one of those ones that came up like, hey, her Suni Lee is a champion. Now Paige Beckers is going to be a champion. Almost like a knock on the Vikings, Timberwolves, and, so on. But my question to you, Sam, when you look at this Vikings team and the fans, because the fans, again, I'm looking at more fans in Twitter, they weren't happy with where the Vikings are so far in this offseason. You look at the over-under with the Vikings. Do you think the fans are right of feeling like the Vikings aren't close to winning? Like it's not even talks of it yet?
The Vikings offseason has done a great job of keeping this team in the hunt, but that's it. Kirk Cousins is career 59-2 as a quarterback. He's the same quarterback he's always been. He's been that quarterback for 7 years, in my opinion. The only difference this year is the head coach. So is Kevin O'Connell going to provide the difference to take them from in the hunt, maybe right on the edge of that playoff race, into contender status? I'm not convinced about that. We're looking at the Vegas over-unders right now. The Vikings on DraftKings Sportsbook listed at 9. I've seen them at 8.5 some places. 8.5, you know what that means? That means exactly 500. That is a Kirk Cousins line. And to be honest with you, I know they've made some moves, but a lot of those moves are just replacing players that have departed. They replaced Michael Pierce with Harrison Phillips. They replaced Anthony Barr with Jordan Hicks. They haven't exactly added a lot of talent. They've just shuffled the deck. So I don't think this team is a contender to win a championship. I don't think they're in that conversation.
And I look at the 8.5. I get it. It's a safe Vegas type of thing, I think, in my opinion. Like the Packers, I don't truly believe 11 to 11.5 wins for the Packers. I think that's in hopes, that people are going to hammer the under, hoping they only get to 10. That's tough when you have Aaron Rodgers and you look at they're going to play a similar schedule to the Vikings, but then they also have to play the top teams in all the divisions as well. And when you look at those other top teams that they're going to face, it's not scary. It's not a scary schedule. Now Devontae Adams has left. I personally feel that the Vikings can win 10 games. I think they're above there. I think that's an easy bet. I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying I would put, 10,000 on it, but I think I would put some money down. And I think I've never really done sports betting. One, I don't have the patience to keep track of the ticket and remember and all that stuff and be like, oh yeah, I have a bet. But this might be the first year, one, because I think this will keep me engaged. If I have money on the line, I've always heard that everything's more fun when there's money on the line. So I plan on at some point getting a friend that I know going to Vegas or somebody to put, I'm going to give them some money. I'm not going to say how much. If I win, we'll disclose that towards the end of the season on the show. But I want to put some money down on it. I want to put some money on this Vikings on the over. One, I want to do it before the over hits 10, when all of a sudden people see this offseason, see this offense, see what Kirk Cousins looks like. Because I think they're underestimating what Kevin O'Connell can do. I think they're underestimating a quarterback's mental need to have a parent type of coach to help them and walk them through some of the reads and the extra things they're thinking about. I look at guys like Dan Orlovsky, starting quarterbacks, Peyton Manning's, Tom Brady's, they're not always great teachers. Brett Favre said, he's like, I don't want to be a teacher. Or I'm not grooming or mentoring this kid. When he was talking about Aaron Rodgers, great quarterbacks aren't always great at conveying the message because they do it like a robot. They don't do it because they're sitting there learning it. They do it because they're great at it. But guys like Dan Orlovsky, who have to learn a little bit more, who have to try a little bit harder and stay in the playbook and know more, just stay on the team, like a Kevin O'Connell as a backup quarterback. Those are the guys, like a Sean Mannion. That's why they always say, man, backup quarterbacks are going to be the best head coaches or coaches later on if they decide to, because of that. Frank Wright, another one of those. He had to be a backup for a while. He did have some moments where he, got to come in and make some plays. But again, another backup quarterback who just, learned and soaked it all in. Gary Kubiak, another backup. That's where you look at, I think Kevin O'Connell is going to be that guy. He's another backup quarterback who has a ton of smarts when it comes to the game, knows how to operate within that quarterback room. But that's going to be the fun part, but I think as this season goes, fans are going to open up a little bit. Now, if they come out and lay an egg, hey, I will swallow my words. We can replay this clip and I will say, yep, I was wrong. My wife would love for me to say that because she relishes in the days I admit I was wrong. So I'm more than willing to admit I was wrong, but I think 10 wins, I think that's going to be a sweet spot for the Vikings. And then, of course, it's how they play the Packers.